I'm really not a techie person, so this might go very wrong, but I hope you're all happy at home. And I was going to show you how to use the styrofoam in your pack that hopefully you picked up. But if you didn't manage to pick up a pack, then this is a pizza base. So if you buy a pizza in the supermarket, you'll find that sometimes this thing is at the bottom and it's this kind of crunchy foam. So I've cut out a little piece of mine. If you've got the white foam, you can just use it squared. You could cut it into an exciting shape if you wanted to. So you need that. You'll also need some paint, maybe a brush as well, that would be quite useful. And some objects. So I've got metal objects that are going to be quite easy to push into the foam. So in class, we've also used a pencil to draw into the foam. So some of you know how to do that already. But today I thought I'd show you a different way of using it. So I've collected things like a little metal tool called an Allen key. I've got different sizes of paper clip. I've got a hair clasp, a little screw thing, a little key ring, a fork, but really anything that is going to be able to push into the foam. So you can feel like with your nail you can even push into it, so it doesn't have to necessarily be metal. So we're kind of thinking about creating a pattern. So once you've got your shape, whatever shape you're going to use your styrofoam as, you could cut it out. So one side of yours might be bumpy and we want to use the flat side. So you need to put your piece of styrofoam flat side down. And then you're going to just use whatever tools you've got, whatever pieces of metal shapes you've got, to start to press shapes into the foam. So you can push it down when it's flat on the table is easiest, but I'm going to hold it up so you can see. So say I've got this key ring. This is going to make a nice circular mark. So I would lay it down on the table and I would just press it in. And remember that your fingers might make a mark as well. So try not to push onto the foam with your fingers. Try and just use the metal. And then you'll see it's quite subtle, but there's a little indentation where the shape has gone. So you can start to think, oh, what kind of shapes could I get with my tools? I could get dots using the fork, couldn't I? I could get lines if I'm scraping. So you can see you can start to get lots of different shapes, and you might find that you've got some really interesting things, like I could get a corner shape if I was pushing the Allen key in. So I can start to build up patterns. I could draw a picture if I wanted to, but I could just use the shapes to make patterns. I've got this tiny little screw, so that might make some nice kind of tiny zigzaggy one. It's very difficult to see. So when you have got all of your shapes and patterns, you can spend as long as you want on that. So I have made my one earlier, like Blue Peter. So this is mine, and can you see it's got all sorts of indentations on it from the different tools. So I'm going to put that down onto a piece of paper on the table because there is going to be paint involved. So just using a piece of paper, it can be newspaper. And then I've got my paint in a little pot, and I'm going to brush over the styrofoam in a light, thin layer, okay? So I'm going to do that on the table, and then I'll hold it up so that you can see. So I'm brushing it on. I'm not putting too much paint because that would actually get in the way of all of the nice marks I've made and make the print more difficult. So I've brushed all that on. It's in a nice thin layer. And I'm just going to leave that on my piece of paper. Okay, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to get my second piece of paper. This is going to be the piece of paper that I'm going to print on. So you need to decide where you want it. Do you want it right in the middle? Or are you going to do a repeat pattern? So you're going to keep printing lots of times on the same paper. So I'm going to try and do a repeat. So I'm going to go in the corner. I'm going to lay it down on top of my styrofoam and I'm going to gently rub. So my styrofoam is underneath. It's on the table in your case. And you're going to rub like this. Make sure that you rub in all different corners so that you pick up all of the paint. And you're not going to press too hard because that would make more marks. And then you can peel it off. And if you're lucky, some of your things will have made a mark. So you can see I've got the key ring, I've got some dots, I've got some paper clips, but because of the way I've layered it, it actually just looks like a really interesting pattern, and I don't necessarily know that you'd think they were the shapes. And then I could go again, so I don't have to wash it, I just go again. If you're lucky enough to have 2 colour paints, you might want to try different colours. They might get a little bit mixed, but you could give it just a little wipe with a damp kitchen cloth. So I've put more paint on, again just a thin layer, and I'm going to line it up this time. I'm going to go next to that print so that I can hopefully get a repeat pattern, so a row of different prints. And again, I'm just rubbing the top in little circles, making sure I get to all the different corners. And then I will peel it off. So I'm peeling off the paper like that. So I'm not taking the print everywhere because that will mean paint gets everywhere. So there we go. So you can see I've tried to line it up. This one didn't quite have enough paint there, but that's okay. Next time I'll know to put more there. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going until I get to the end of the page. And then you can see what a row of my repeat pattern looks like.